Hey, it's Kellen.
Tyson here.
And of course, AM.
And today we are going to talk about what people feel they have to do to fit in, to make it in business in this whole diversity era of what is diversity and also how you fit in. And we are going to use the highly popular example of 21 Savage.
This is Diversified Game.
A podcast giving entrepreneurial advice from a diverse and inclusive perspective with Kellen.
He may agree, he may oppose, and it's more than just race, it's about, ideas.
Tyson.
When you're going against the odds, you've got to be creative, you've got to innovate, you've got to stand out.
And AL.
Focus more on execution and application and less on excuses.
So, let the game begin.
If you don't know, was arrested by ICE officials because he has overstayed his visa as well as had a felony years ago. So, let's just jump in right into this, y'all. 21 Savage arrested by ICE. Everyone was shocked. Am I the only one who said I knew 21 Savage was an alien? From Mars, though.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that was going to be my caveat. I knew 21 Savage was a different type of dude. I just thought it was a different planet. I didn't realize that it was just a different country. So here's the thing that I realized with 21 Savage is one, they're saying his visa expired in 2006. What year is it? All right. So it expired in 2006. I just want to make sure that we're in 2019. AL, is that the year?
Yeah, last time I checked.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, you know what I mean? That's like, when you know that the milk in your fridge is chunky, you don't hold on to it for a whole, 13 years and then decide to throw it out, do you?
Well, yeah, no, you don't. But ICE is behind. ICE is behind.
No. I can't accept that behind bull from ICE on this one, because behind, I get it. People slip through the cracks. He didn't slip through no crack, Kellen. This man bought the house and put it in your house and lived there, making music, making millions of dollars, having kids. Now, I'm not all about the immigration practices in the United States. I'm not saying I agree with them, but I think that the timing is very funny on this one. The timing is funny on this one. And and his felony happened in what? 2012? No, 2014. So, and it was a gun charge and drug charge, I believe, right? And now, if we're looking at that, you're not behind if you're ICE. You had every possibility to deport him. When it came to 2006, when it expired, they were well aware that it expired. So you had from 2006.
He was nobody then. He was pretty much, he was a kid then.
They kicking out people for less, Kel. They kicking out nobody.
Yeah, now they are.
They were kicking out nobodies back then too. But okay, let's give benefit of the doubt. So you have from then to 2014. 2014, he was literally at your doorstep. You guys had to know exactly where he came from. You had to know exactly the year he entered the country. You had to know what age he entered the country. All of these things would be blatantly apparent in that time when you're going through, your legal phase in life. All that stuff gone, Okay, so we move forward. He put in for his U visa in 2017. He put in for the U visa in 2017. That doesn't mean that he wasn't already expired. He was expired. So right then right then when he's putting in the paper, okay, right then. But the funny thing for me is there's a song. It's ASMR or AMSR, the one that LeBron James got called out for posting the lyrics, him singing to the lyrics, where he says, And I want to pull up the exact lyric on this one. I don't want to paraphrase nada on this.
While you pull that up, his Wikipedia now says he's a British rapper based in Atlanta.
Yeah, they came through quick, huh? Yeah, they said swoop swoop. Okay, so boom. Let's see, what did he say? Oh my goodness.
Now you're good.
He says I'm getting. Oh, he says I'm getting money. I'm getting Jewish money, like I'm kosher. Like it's kosher, something to that effect. And when he said that, they found that offensive. They found that offensive. That's a hot bar.
They were the one who bought the music. We didn't buy it.
Well, here we go. And this is where we're going to get into who actually owns the labels. All right. But on top of that, we go and we look at, I want to dissect the bar real quick. I'm getting Jewish money. It's kosher. So kosher is also a slang term for like good. Everything like is good. Like, hey, I'm kosher. I'm good. That's what it's kind of morphed into. So the bar itself is, in actuality, not offensive. Because if you put Jewish money, like saying essentially Jewish with kosher from a perspective of clean, right? Clean eating, clean living, like how they process and handle their food, the separation of things. So essentially Jewish money could simply be, I'm getting Jewish money, aka playing on the clean aspect of kosher, all that. I'm like saying he's legit now, and I'm good.
Yeah.
So
they were offended. They were offended.
So that's cool. But I think it's very funny looking at the way that the industry shakes out of who owns the label and who's getting offended and why they're offended. So the reasoning of why you're offended is just as important as just saying you're offended, because nowadays I could be offended by Arizona using red, the color red, when they write the word energy. No, I think that's offensive that they shed, and the energy that poured out from the slaves, my ancestors. I think about the energy that they put into this land, and when you put red in energy, that offends me because I think of their blood. That's
not.
You know what I mean? Like,
I hear you. No, I hear you. Yeah, everybody's offended nowadays. So let's get into this British rapper.
Well,
and how y'all didn't hear the accent.
Well,
I'm blaming you black people.
But now you still got to lead into so. But he can talk about, and this relates to the black. He can say the N-word. He can use hoes. He can do all of that stuff. And no offense, no offense is taken up by the Jewish community of the disrespect there. And yes, people are gonna be like, well, that's his community. He can say whatever he wants about it. But a line that was literally nowhere near it saying anything derogatory about the Jewish community, which statistically speaking, 2% of the population, 41% of our food in our grocery stores is kosher. Think about that. 2% of the pop, 41% kosher. African Americans, approximately 13 to 14% of the population. Where we at on prison reform, right? Where we at on that stuff? Where we at on the public school system? Where we at on the police brutality things? We essentially have more of the population and can't move the needle. Because if you look at the Forbes list, approximately 50% of the Forbes list is Jewish.
But you know what, in that, Ty? I don't think that's not a 21 Savage problem. That's they want to do anything to knock down LeBron James. They haven't been able to.
LeBron James, 21 Savage. So this relates to ICE having a very coincidental time frame, because that just happened in December in 2017. And here we are, February 6th. Before the end of January, or just at the end of January, right at the Super Bowl-ish time, right? Now 21 Savage, deportation. But he's made a lot of money. He's proven productive. He's also altered the way that he's handling the community, right? He's taking away the jewelry, giving back to the community, trying to do more positive things, switching up his image, planing down his clothes. Some would say he's going almost Zuckerbergish, but a little cooler. He's
trying to get his masters is a rumor.
Right.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, that's in a rumor. I'll buy it as true. Hey, so if you have this positive, he's showing all of these positive strides in essentially no longer being that caricature and that image that he was to become successful, in that regard. And at the same time, again, he attributes that line to saying, well, the Jewish people that I'm around, they handle themselves and carry themselves in a certain way. So that's who I was thinking of when I was rapping that bar. Sounds like he may have picked up some things that he saw them doing and started applying them to his own life, and now changing the perception of the Black community when it comes to who the rapper can be and what they can do and how they can act, right? That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Changing the paradigm. Changing the paradigm.
They pretty much slick Ricked him. That's what it is, because Slick Rick too, born in England and whatnot, and sometimes if you they do things, it's strategic, but I think it was just them not being on their game and picking when they want to do something. I mean, Academics must have the greatest interview right now, because he's probably the last one who will be able to interview him in his current state, because they're going to send him back.
They're saying there's potentially a 10-year ban.
Oh yeah, because you violate it, if not lifetime. But you got a felony. But they've done it to shine. You got to get out of here. And I think it's going to take his music and his career though to a different level, because he's going to go back hot as whatnot, being able to travel everywhere but America. And he's gonna link up with the Garage and the Grime Cats in the UK, and take that mumble rap there. He's gonna link up with his African folks, and he's gonna be he's set. Like, he's not mad. You know what I mean?
And I get that. So there's always going to be a silver lining in the way that it carries over into the business. I just really wanted to get that out there so people could think about that side of it. And it's okay to have one certain image being portrayed to Black people. When people start switching up their image and say something that other people want to keep under wraps, it's not that it's offensive. It's the fact that they don't want people to look at Jewish people as controlling a lot of wealth and things like that. They want to kind of, be humble about it. I guess that's really what it comes. Hey, we just want to be humble about our successes. And the way that you said that puts us in the limelight a little bit more than we'd like. But it's not untrue.
The Jewish thing is one thing, but what happened to this cat's homeboys who knew him at that age and said, yeah, man, this dude really, he was sounding different then, and how he really dumbs it down when he wants to, because you can hear him talk proper in certain things, just like,
because he has to play that game.
Yeah, he has to play. You gotta be, dumb and stupid. They call it country dumb some places.
Right, because if he came in there with a British accent and acted like he had more sense than he portrayed himself to have initially, no, you don't fit the narrative that we're trying to push right now. That deal doesn't go through. Sorry, we're not. We get the whole conscious thing, we get the whole education thing. That's not really what we're trying to push to the Black community right now. So could you come back when we're there?
Kodak Black, all of them. I think it's all a game, and we know it. Like, behind the scenes, that these people really aren't the way they are, but the masses don't get to see that, and they're like, oh, this person is really whatever they think they are at the time.
Exactly. So it's playing that role, and it's so important to realize that oftentimes we as Black people make people have to play these roles because of what we're buying into. And if we dictate the market and we dictate how money moves, right? Cardi B, money moves. If we're dictating that side, realize that if we essentially shift the way that our dollar works and goes, hey, listen, it was cool to go through that mumble rap, drug user phase for a little bit. We want to move on. Then the music industry has to move on as well. They have to say, all right, well, since that's not selling or working anymore, we need to change up, because at the end of the day, they're still trying to get that $1 trillion out of us. They still want to get that out of us. We dictate that side of it. And so when we constantly and overwhelmingly support, and not to take anything away from these people, but because they're making progress, like Mona Scott Young, right? Love and hip hop, the drama, the ratchet behavior. When we support that and we put all of our money and our viewership behind all of those things, that's what we get more of. Then we get Black Ink, right? We get drama there. We get Black Ink Chicago. We get more drama there. And when we're taking that stuff in, we think that we're leaving it on the screen, but a lot of people don't leave it on the screen. They then take that into their real lives and behave that way. So we dictate that side of it on the business structure, and we can control that a little bit more and start encouraging people to be educated, and that it's not selling out to become educated. It's not selling out to, it's also not selling out to code switch. You know what I mean? I talk differently to my child than I do to my spouse. I talk differently to the preacher than I do to the guy working the counter at the corner store, right? We have different conversations. And so there's going to be certain words I use over here that I'm not going to want to use over there. If you're at home, you know what I mean? So code switching isn't necessarily bad, but don't call someone fake if they do it. If they put on their phone voice, you know what I mean? They want to be understood when they're on the phone, and they want the other person to take whatever they're saying more seriously, because realize that you don't know whether that person on the other side has a bias. Okay. And more likely than not, we go with the numbers. The numbers say that more times than not, if the person on the other side has a bias, it's not going to be a bias that says, oh, look, another white person calling, I'm not going to do what they want me to do because they're angry, or because, they always have an issue. 9 times out of 10, you're not getting that happening. But if I call in and I don't have on a good phone voice or my good, podcast radio voice, and they hear, I'm maybe agitated about something, and then it slips out a little slang or something. Oh, here we go. Psst, angry black man, typical. You know what I mean? We're fighting so many different stereotypes from so many different directions that we need to give ourselves way more freedom and allowance, which also I do want to talk a little bit about the presidential candidates, Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, but we could get a little deeper into that, because they too, I feel like, have to do a little bit of what 21 Savage had to do. You have to play a certain role in order to get where you need to get. Like Obama had to do the same thing. Charlemagne was asking some good questions. I don't know. You did, AL, you see any of that stuff?
I saw a clip of it. I want to hear what AL said, since he was down the street and could have, warned Cory Booker and slapped him and checked him.
AL actually ran up on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have my thoughts and opinions about Cory Booker. Other people may feel otherwise, but he's playing the game just like everybody else. There's a fine line between talk and implementation, and outside of some pertinent moments when there may have been like a storm or something. Other than that, I really can't speak to what Cory Booker has done outside of Newark qualifies him to run for president.
Okay. Well, what I see you in taking the diplomatic route. You have that freedom on this show. You have that freedom. staying middle of the road is picking a side, AL.
I'm keeping it light because the turn up can get a little real, but
man,
I'm good.
So,
I'm good. I'm good on Booker.
I want to hit just real quick. Hit this one out of the park. Is Charlemagne the God from the Breakfast Club asked a pretty blunt question about the Black agenda, and was like, "What are you gonna do for Black people?" Point straight at him, and Booker danced.
That's what he's always been doing. He's been doing that, bro.
When I see that man in the videos on the floor, that's not a dance floor when that man's in there. He says what he wants directly to who he wants. You know what I mean? So it's and now, but here's the thing. We also have to realize that he's going from one position and aiming for another one. So he's going to have to dial some stuff back. And he's going to have to change his plan of attack. He can't do what got him to the Senate in New Jersey and all that. He can't do the same things that got him there to get him to the presidency. He's going to have to change. So I realize that, and I want other people to realize that as they're judging him. And I'm not saying vote for him. I'm not saying not to. I'm just saying make educated decisions and realize that everything that you see on the front may not be what's going on in the back. Or what that person's full agenda may be when they get into office, right? If he went in there going full throttle, saying everything that he was going to do for Black people, there's a greater segment of America that he does need to grab onto and get their advocacy and push those votes that are going to turn their nose. Even the ones that say, "Oh, I'm not racist. I'm not this." Again, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And I know some of them, not all, some of them have the public face of diversity and inclusion and the private face of they don't know what I'm doing when I'm in that ballot box, though. So
yeah, I mean,
you know
Corey,
what I mean?
He just sounded weak. It's a way to do it. But when someone asks you about the Black agenda, you need to come out because Obama ruined it for light skinned. And so you're not going to be able to come right now because we didn't get anything. While Marianne Williamson, has come out and said, she's up for reparations.
But
he wants to do this whole American thing. We ain't trying to hear that when you're talking to Black folk. We're not trying to hear it. Black man asks you a Black question.
But that's why we
get played. We get played every time we go to Gucci and go buy a satchel and a headband and say we got
I get it, but like you have there's it's this way and we want it to change, but it's tough to change. I'm going to tell this. You have white females who can come out saying the craziest off the wall thing, but they're still a white female. And I always draw this reference, but Dave Chappelle's skit, when you go back and look at his presidency, they weren't necessarily worried about Dave. They was looking at the people around him, and Dave acted crazy when he was pretending to be president. You know what I mean? So it's not always directly the person. It's not always directly the things, but it's the thing that comes with it. There was a joke that he said, like, "Oh, I'm gonna, if I have to be president, I'm gonna get a Mexican vice president. That way, if I get voted in, nobody will want to assassinate me because white people are less scared. They're less scared of the Black man than they are of killing the Black man and having the Mexican open up the borders." And look at what we're doing right now. People are going through great lengths to make sure that trying to make sure that the wall gets built. So, like, that's what I'm likening this situation to, is people are being diplomatic. They're picking their words wisely, and they're getting away with what they know they can get away with. She knows she can say that, and that's going to make one of the biggest ripples in the Black community. One of the biggest ripples in the Black community. Reparations, because what does that mean for me? Like, that sounds like money coming my way, land coming my way. That sounds like we might get some good stuff out of that. So now even if you just said it to be fantabulous and outlandish, you're gonna get our attention. Got mine, got yours. I'm pretty sure got AL's, but I also realized the mouth that it's coming out of.
Oh yeah, true. Oh, true that. That reparations talk is kind of crazy. Just for the simple fact that not everybody can be traced. You know what I mean? That's a huge problem. While some families will be able to get potentially what's owed to them, and they just don't have documentation. But like, how do you even begin to tackle reparations? And that's just wild conversation to begin with, and I don't know why people are playing that up.
Right, and that's my, so there's that, and again, it's Hillary's hot sauce trick. Like, right. Come on, like you had to do something that you felt was going to be wild relatable to get the attention. And yeah, I know I hate getting political because we're supposed to talk about entrepreneurship and things like that, but this plays into the grander scheme, because if we're going to build a business and we have to build it in the United States, we have to look at this. We have to look at who we're putting in office. We have to look at...
The United States is a corporation. It's a corporation,
right.
Bro.
It's a corporation. So we're talking about the big business,
employees.
The biggest business.
Yeah.
Right. But, so I feel like if I look at Kamala Harris, I look at Cory Booker, I realize that there may be some agendas that they just want to keep between, like, off air. Who knows if Cory was like, hey, man, let me talk to you, Charlamagne, let me talk to you real quick. Hey, don't be doing that. I can't say nothing crazy, bro. Like, chill. Like, that white chick, you can say that. She's white. Okay, I can't do the whole black agenda thing on the mic. But between you and I can't put it on my website because they'll see it there. But between you and I, this is the plan, bro. I gotta show them what they want to see on the front side, right? Because once I'm in there, I'm in there. You see what Trump doing? Yeah, he's in there. Like, he said some
Obama ruined that, Ty.
Right. Well,
nobody trying to hear that.
Because, but
Obama did that. They gave it a chance. They got nothing.
Obama wasn't even saying, like, Obama was not. Obama was a black president. All right. The campaign was run on hope, and I voted for him. So I'm going to throw that out there. But I realized when I cast my vote, I was not voting for change. I was voting for hope. I was voting for the vision of finally breaking up the rigmarole that was the presidential office. Finally getting someone in there that showed that it's possible to get there. I knew what I was voting for. I don't know what everybody else was voting for. And people may say, well, that was stupid. You cast your vote and you really didn't look at his politics like that. I didn't look at his politics. And the man was your neighborhood hope dealer. And he delivered on what I voted him to do, which was give hope to those. Because I had seen black presidents run. And by black, I mean by skin tone. Or candidates run and they get washed. It's not even close. And I've seen it, and I always look like, oh man, that guy looks like me. Oh man, he's running. Like, I want to see what happens, and then they get washed. So I'm like, dang. And I told my sixth grade teacher, I told her, which I lied. I told her I was going to be the first black president of the United States, and I lied because Obama beat me to it. But I support the fact that he beat me to it. I'm full support of that because it opened up the gates to say it's possible now. Now it's no longer something you say to your sixth grade teacher that she half-heartedly looks at you and goes, poor, like in the back of her head, she's like, poor baby. He doesn't realize they only let white men do that. You know what I mean? So if you voted for Obama thinking he was going to get in there and like tear the walls up, it's almost like the same reaction we're having. Well, Obama ruined that. If he went in there and tore the walls up and did everything that he wanted to do and was signing all these executive orders left and right and making a big deal like Trump did, you can guarantee on the other side it was going to be, oh, we did that once, not happening again. You saw what happened? Definitely not. No, he went in there and all of a sudden, Kool and the Gang was his cabinet. Like, you know what I mean? Like Lionel Richie was giving him giving him international affairs advice. We can't have that. You know what I mean? Like that's
what you got on the flip side right now. That's what you got on the flip side. And folks ain't even taking jobs, can't even fill a cabinet. You know.
What's crazy is, Kel, Trump is a white man, so they won't.
But
look
he's
at
a real
him
nigga, though. He might be a white man, but he's a real nigga.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a real one. You don't.
Right.
He's the real 21 Savage and Kodak Black. What you think of them, that's what he is.
And he can be that, though, because they're never going to look at him and say, oh, man, we voted in on a white male, never again. They're not going to look at him and say that. But they will quickly look at us and say that. They will quickly be like, oh, all right, we're going to test one out. And if one gets in there and we don't like it, never again. But they can't say that to him. White men won't allow it to be said. The population won't allow it to happen. You think after Trump gets out of office, whether that's this term or the next term or whatever, or early, whatever, you think they're going to look and be like, man, that man was wild, man. So, well, the white male thing that's out there, no one's going to do that. And that's what people need to realize about.
Well, I would hope that. And then, get some women in there, get some natives, get some people.
I would hope that, but
I don't put too much in. I don't put too much in the American dream because, like the late great George Carlin said, you have to be asleep to believe in it. My thing is, get your affairs together, do your purpose, and if it's to make some money, get it and live peacefully wherever that is. It doesn't have to be on this plantation, because once you get off this plantation, you say, oh my goodness, there's other, fields out there that aren't so highly regulated. Everything here is so highly regulated. You have to have a license to braid hair in some places.
Right.
And it's just, you can't, to me, it's not living, man. When the Rastafarians talk about this is Babylon and it's falling, go to Jamaica one time, and I know AL has gone, and see how they're living. They're happier than us.
Right.
Yeah, word. And they have a significantly less amount.
Right.
Than us.
Right. That's true. But so just keep that in mind when you're looking at candidates, folks, whether you're looking at them from a business lens, whether you're looking at them from, I just want to instill hope in the future, realize I'm taking a risk on this person, but I want someone to believe that they can do it. Whatever reason why you're going to cast your vote or who you're going to get behind and support, realize that whatever you're seeing is never going to be the full picture. No one is running the platform and 100% saying the truth. There's not one candidate who's doing that. And that's politics, straight up. When Trump ran, he said some outlandish things, but he said opposing things from state to state. One day he's putting on a hat talking about how he's going to support agriculture. Next time he's taking off the hat and he's on the podium talking about big business and big pharma. So, you know what I mean? So let's understand that a game is being played, and no matter who it is, in that as far as underrepresented people go, we have to play the game even more than oftentimes other people have to play, because they have the mentality in general, and I'm using the proverbial they, it's the mentality of, if we give one a try and we don't like it, never again, because they can't say that to white males, for some reason it just can't be said.
Here's a deeper question to kind of swirl around in the pot, is that even though we have the community at large coming to the polls to make these votes, at the end of the day, the electoral college votes is really what dictate who's going to be in the office at the end of the day.
Right.
How do we, as a community of folks from on a local level to state level, federal level, how do we ultimately impact the state of affairs when it comes to politics, when You know, the choices have already been made. We just want to see what y'all thinking.
And that's why you have to question the intelligence of the American people. Because when somebody, the last candidate who would have been a real good candidate, real good president, Ron Paul, said, get rid of the Electoral College and bring our troops home tomorrow. We walked in, we can walk back out. When he said that, people look at, oh, this crazy old man. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when Dr. Paul said that, I felt it. That's who I'm voting for. Walk in, get the people that are going crazy, coming back crazy from doing all the killing. Then you tell them they can't get a little bit of killing in without going to jail for life. You know, just a little bit.
He said just a little bit.
You know, you click something on, it's hard to turn that off, and then you tell them to shut up. But when he said walk in, walk out, and get rid of the Electoral College, everyone looked at him like he's a nut, and anybody who followed him. Now, for all the things people say, oh, he sounds like a racist, or he did this speech in front of the Confederate flag. So what? I drank at a bar with the Confederate flag, and it was one of the coolest places in Ruston, Louisiana, that you could relax and whatnot, and you never had a problem. You know, those same rednecks. People got to get over the little things, because I'm not saying I don't want to slap somebody every time I see a Confederate flag. I just know they're holding on to a weird part of history. Right. But, you know, Dr. Paul was really talking what needed to be done. Congressman, you know, senator, that man had so many positions, and people looked at him like he was crazy when he said, I want to be president. But the Electoral College needs to go if people knew what they were, you know, what they were voting for. But
it essentially, point, I mean, because in a way, the Electoral College essentially goes against the idea of democracy. It's feigned democracy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Democracy is supposed to be based on the populist vote, the actual influence of the population. That's what it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to decide how much influence the population has. Like, that's literally, they're like, this population has more influence than this population. We all still got to live here, though. So on a federal level, it needs to matter that it's the number of people, not how many people are in a condensed area. That should matter. Now, on a local level, that absolutely matters. Someone in California should not be voting on these state issues, or at least the population of California should be not voting on the state issues of Massachusetts. It shouldn't be like, oh yeah, California, you got to report to the polls. Yeah, we're doing some stuff with mass. You guys gotta weigh in. They can't do this without us. Like that. No, that should be Massachusetts, because that's where democracy happens. One for one, district to district, things like that, because you're dealing with a scaled down version of what we deal with at large. So if we're voting on how the country, or who is going to run the country, yes, they're allowing the whole country to take part in it, but they're limiting the part that you take in it. And that's not democracy. That's feigned democracy. That's a controlled environment. That's a case study happening. How long before they realize that, like someone's back there working the numbers, like how long before they realize that, like, you know, we make them win? Like how long before they realize it? Like, all right, your vote doesn't matter if you're from this state, because you have, 5 points. Like you're not by. They don't even need you to win. They could completely skip over you.
Well, I mean, even with the Electoral College votes, they still determine whether it's going to be Republican or Democrat, even after those votes come in. So, and it could be a situation where more votes for Democrats come in, or it's a blue state, and that whoever makes that pulls the trigger is like, you know what? Nah, this is Republican now.
Right. This is now a Republican state. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna tell you, man, it's there's no way to know when you've ever got it right, but sometimes it's apparent when you know it's wrong.
In fact,
man, we get in deeper questions than we can tackle on a podcast. But I'm hoping that everyone listening is just here for it, because we're figuring out a lot of things that are beyond business but tied into business. Decision making is a part of business. How you're going to run your company is a part of business. Democracy is a part of business, right? You have your board of advisors. Diversity and inclusion is a part of your business. How you apply it is a part of your business. You know, how you handle foreign visas and all that good stuff is a part of your business. Are you going to be employing people internationally and migrating them into the States? Now you've got to think about, well, how does that affect me when it comes to my relationship with DACA, with ICE, with foreign, to get through some of those hurdles? And then how does that affect the people that I may be bringing over? Like, how does that change their life? Like, may I do something wrong, though well-intentioned, hire someone from Turkey, well-intentioned. They come here and we flub up the paperwork or somewhere along the line. They're working, they're living their lives. They get over here, they meet someone, they start having a family or something like that. And then go back 10 years and find out that I missed a T somewhere. And now they're getting deported and potentially banned for a lifetime and having to uproot and change their entire being. Those are all things to think about on a greater scale. And it's something that I think we as Americans, which there is definitely some American privilege, I don't have to worry about deportation at this point in time in history. I know exactly where I was born. I don't have to worry about it. So that is a privilege for me, not to have to worry about that. Just, you know, for 21 Savage, it wasn't a bit like he had to worry about that. And I'm sure he knew he had to worry about that. I'm pretty sure that he was doing his best while he was doing whatever he was doing not to get caught, because he's like, man, in the back of my mind, I'm not even from here, y'all. Like, like I'm a straight visitor. So I'm not trying to disrespect the house I'm living in, but you know, I want to grab the cookies, and in order to grab the cookies, I got to stand on their chair because I can't reach them otherwise. But you know, I hope they don't come out of the bathroom while I'm in the middle of standing on the chair trying to reach the cookies. And so 21 Savage got caught standing on the chair one time, and now that may cost him a lot of his career as far as the states are concerned. But Kellen brings up a very valid point. There are people that are not famous or popular in the United States, have never done a show in the United States, that bank more than the artists that are popular in the United States make, because they've decided to become artists of the world versus artists of the United States, and realize the United States is a very small population of our entire world. So, you know, think about that. Like, you can literally go get big in China and Japan and kill what the United States is doing from a financial perspective for you as an artist, like, and just be known in China, or just be known in Japan, you know, or just be known in Russia, you know, just be known any other country, and you can kill what you're doing here in the US as a struggling artist, right? For some of the artists that are struggling out there. So yeah,
and that's all the artists. That's all the artists in America. You're struggling.
Yeah,
you know.
He said even the well-paid ones are struggling.
Yeah, I made $1 million. No, you didn't. You got taxed so hard, and you didn't even have a CPA. So, you know, now you're looking at legal issues. All of them are struggling. Mm-hmm. But it's just not like that everywhere.
Right.
So yeah. So hope y'all got something out of that, man. And we didn't even get into the faking and the fronting and, you know, pretending, but you got to do what you got to do to, not like you say, to fit in and get in.
Oh, and we'll definitely get to that on another episode.
So I think this is a good place to stop our dialogue for this episode and allow you, the listeners, to join the conversation and keep the dialogue going with us online.
You can do so by visiting our social media at Facebook, Diversified Game Podcast, On Instagram and Twitter, Game Diversified. Online, diversifiedgame.com. In your life, with the people around you, and or join our Patreon and get some nice perks for being involved.
If you found a nugget and or liked today's episode, you might as well leave a review. And if you leave a review, you might as well share it. If you share it, you might as well subscribe. And as always, thanks for your support.
Thanks for getting in the game and listening to the Diversified Game podcast with Kellen, Tyson, and AL. The #1 show pairing entrepreneurship with diverse and inclusive perspectives like wine and cheese, bagel and lox, fish and grits. Be sure to visit diversifiedgame.com for all the good stuff. Join in the conversation and discover more content.